Welcome, shrimp crafters. We just got our first shot off today using the Thompson Maxi 32, and that's a original Thompson mold that I paid extremely too much for. I think it was like 125 bucks. And we're at about 35 yards again right here. I would have gone back further, but all my table's set up right over here, so we're gonna stay here. So I just hit a little low of center, and I did load this one up using a felt wad for a 36 cap and ball with the ox yoke. I'll show you those in a second here. We had pretty darn fast ignition using that Pennsylvania. And then we'll do this again here. I know you guys can hear me now because that mic's doing awesome. So if anyone needs a mic for your purposes, that Rode, R-O-D-E, works really well. Clips right in. So these are the RMC ox yoke 36 felt wads that are pre-lubed with a Wonder wad. I got these years ago and forgot about them. But I figured we'd do that and see how we're doing. Right now we're at 1339 exactly. It picked up on the Garmin, so I'm happy about that. And these are 122 grain. I've used right on there, 132 grain. I'll bring a close up after later. And I made my own lube thanks to all your suggestions again. So I did use a similar lube that I had. Bought a small hot plate off of Amazon, so I think it was like 18 bucks. Worked real good. I used a little ceramic, like Corningware pot or dish, and then I just melted all my beeswax as well as some canola oil and a little bit of virgin olive oil. Wait till that was clear. Kind of threw all my. I've seen some different people say heat up your lead or not, so I just threw all my lead in, let it kind of warm up together, and then I pulled them out one at a time with chopsticks and let them cool, and that's what we have right here. So today I'm using my Ernest Johnson 1958 filled with 3F, and we're running 30 grains of powder, and that was I believe this is graphs coming out of here. I'm just going to set these here. And I'm doing measured charges. And again, I am capping. Mosquitoes are starting to come out. You never get a break. This gun is so long that I can't really do this angle, so I'm going to show you, but I'm doing measured right here. And then I'm going to take one of these, and they don't quite fit, but they fit real snug. They're a little lopsided going in, but they felt perfect going down. So I'm just going to seat that right on top, get that started, and it is kind of perfectly in there, so there's no reason not to use them. And then, with my awesome base and all, they filled in the grooves decently, just like that. And I'm going to rub that excess right over the top. Some awesome birds out right now. And then I don't need to use this with these bullets, but this is one I made, slightly longer, 32. Again, thank you for the suggestions. But actually, you'll see, look how easy this goes in. And then about right there, there's a little tiny bit of fouling from that last shot, but not much. And this ramrod is almost too big. I'm just making sure. I mean, that is a tight fit. And then I'm going to set these down here. Give a little wipe off on here. and then do a little poke and prod for my vent hole. I do recommend you guys all do that. I know over the years many people post on my videos, don't forget to vent pick. And honestly, most times when you don't see me vent pick, I was either just too lazy to do it, or I was actually trying to see, could I get away with not vent picking. But I'm going to tell you, 90% of the time, your first or second shots without vent picking are going to be fine. But if you don't poke that little hole, you know, you're definitely going to run into some problems. And then remember, less is more when you're priming, so I'm just doing a little tiny bit here. One press, pull it out, and it's almost too much. Tap, pulls it away from the hole on the vent liner, close, and I'm on half cock. And again, these right now I'm using half inch wide by, these aren't half inch square. Yeah, it's half by 5/8 on these. So I'm trying to remember which one I would use it, because I have half 3/8 and I have 3/8 by half and so on. But yeah, this is half by 5/8. And we'll talk about some Flint stuff in a minute here. Whew. Man, that one was fast. I don't know if you saw that, but that was actually really fast. Which is great. This gun, I'm telling you, puts my shitting fox to shame. Pedersoli locks anymore, they're really coming a long way. They're as reliable as L&R, according to some experts out there. That is not me. You know, I've talked to a few different people who work on, repair, and actually do this for a living. And I've also talked to Lee Shaver, who is the Pedersoli repair guy. He sells absolutely nothing, so he gets no money on there. But when I was talking about over the years some of my problems, he definitely said the same thing. And in my experience, which is, he said these locks aren't as good as L&Rs anymore. And I do believe that. That's not knocking L&R, it's just that it's just the type of business they are and who they are, and they make a great product. I like L&R. So shot 2 came in as well. We're 1445.2. You know, I can't catch a break now. The mosquitoes are out. I'm gonna load up and we're gonna do it again. And again, this is 3F coming at you. And also, a few people have talked to me or have posted some comments on here, and I do remember or know that as this channel grows and people continue doing stuff, new people find this channel. Perfect. And as new people find this channel, I'm glad you found us and welcome. One of the things though is that you'll see some of my old videos. A few people commented on some of the Sit and Fox videos from however many years ago they've posted now. I think 4 years maybe, because it was COVID. Five years, 2020. So 5 years, going on 5 years. The shitting fox problems were real. They were an absolute shit product. Customer service was mediocre. No real resolution from the owner. He wasn't negative, but there was no like, hey, send that back and I'm gonna fix that. It was more like, well, you know, whatever. We had builders comment that worked for him, the quality of wood, the workmanship, and what they do and don't do. So I'm not knocking them. That gun's never fired as fast as this gun, which is a production gun. And everybody says Kibler. And while I agree Kibler is nice, they're a kit gun. And that's not knocking Kibler, but that's part of the reason every time I go to buy it, pull the trigger on a Kibler, this gun's, you know, cheaper. 300 bucks for his locks. Add a kit, you got to put it together, and you know, while it'll come out and be unique, it's not like I'm going to have resale value down the road because everybody's making Kibler guns now. They're a dime a dozen, which is fantastic, not negative again. But I can buy a production off the shelf, and with my busy schedule and hectic thing, I don't have to put it together. Not to say that someday I'm not going to do a Kibler. I keep looking at his Colonials and some other ones, and I may just eventually pull the trigger on one of those, but right now these are more fun. So, and again, that goes right on in. And my reel super long. And this ramrod is super tight. It's actually the resistance I'm feeling is the ramrod on the muzzle. I mean, look, that's tight. So I brought my range rod with me, just in case. I don't want to break this because it does look nice in the gun. Something about these are just fantastic. So again, we'll do their steps, and I'm only repeating this sometimes because there are a lot of new people coming in. There's a lot of old people who know this stuff. So, so remember, it's powder, patch, and ball. So in this case, it's powder, patch, and maxi ball. And then you don't need the wad underneath, but I'm doing that because I want to see if it increases my accuracy. And so far, it looks pretty good. We'll see what happens as we continue. And I'm glad we're getting chrono data today. But I appreciate all you guys. I appreciate all the suggestions, all the comments, all the likes. And just remember, when you comment on some of my videos, look at the date of them, because some of them are really long. So I know some of you are like, this is probably resolved. And most times it is, but I do value everything you share, and I appreciate everything that's going on. Ooh, I'm getting hotter and hotter. 15087, 15087.7. Now, I was slightly overfilled, and then I tapped level, but that's the variation with pouring from you know, a spout into there. You get granulation separation throughout there. But yeah, this is going like a champ. This one's just fun. So 32, 36, I think they're my favorite. That 38, that's original. That thing's doing awesome. Such a fun gun. I actually went and I was thinking about it. I needed a mold for it, and I was like, man, I don't know what I'm gonna do for a mold. Because that little one that I have is brass. It heats up fast, drops them, but it's slow production. So I went online to Track the Wolf, and they had a 6-cavity mold that's 370 or 370, I think it's 370, and it's for the cap and ball revolvers. So it's either 370 or 375. So I cast a bunch of those up the other day. So when I bring that gun back out, we're going to see how those do compared to the ones that was made for that barrel. But yeah, I'm going to try to get 5 shots with this gun with these and see how we do. And then, hopefully, if it doesn't take too long, I'm going to try to do 5 shots with those patch round balls, because I also picked up a 6-cavity mold of the 310. That's Lee from Track of the Wolf as well for the 32. And I brought those for us. And then the big difference is that the double cavity that Lee sells is, I believe, 311, and then the Lee is a 310, or it's vice versa, the 6 cavity. So it's slightly off on size. Not that it matters much, but it does make for a tighter fit in theory. But I do want to give a big shout out now that we're here and we're just kind of sitting and enjoying, and I hope you're enjoying. It's a beautiful day and it's not raining, although tomorrow on my other day off it's scheduled to rain all day again. And I've got a hopefully great surprise coming in, and another video that'll result from tomorrow. But Dixie Gunworks, I'll tell you, I didn't order from them for a long time because during COVID they were having a lot of problems getting stuff in, just like everybody else. And I took a chance on them with this. And I think I ordered 1 or 2 things over the years, but I always kind of went to Log Cabin. Track of the Wolf I go to if they have something, but I try to, while they're a small business, you get the same person every time. You get Liza from Log Cabin, but this last time I ordered from them, as well as Track of the Wolf, there were some things that just seemed a little off, and I'll explain that later, with some supply and demand things going on right now, and some of you are probably aware of it, but the communication between Track of the Wolf and Log Cabin, they're very busy, and sometimes you put an order in, and I just had some stuff shipped to me automatically, but I never got a courtesy phone call to say, hey, something's back ordered or not, you want a replacement. They just shipped everything, and so their shipping costs are relatively high, and it's irksome. I just a quick reach out, hey, before we ship this order, is there anything, or hey, follow up, because everything said it was in stock online. And again, for the person who commented, it's a shame that I have to use a ball starter. I actually don't have to use the ball starter. Since I made it, I'm using it. It's one of those things where if you make it, I will play with it. And so that's what I'm doing, and that's why I'm using it. And then a little bit of 4F again back in the pan. 1 spurt. Tap. Ears back in. Yeah, we're stacking them. 1441, so we drop back down again. Man, this is a fast gun. This is awesome. When they work, it's fun. When they don't work, it's not fun. It's like anything. Or if you're at work, it's not necessarily fun. Yeah, so we're on shot 4. That was 1441, so our minimum so far was 1339, and the max was 1508, with an average right now of 1433. Not bad with this Thompson mold. So many of you may or may not know, and I think I may have touched on it in the last video, or maybe I didn't, that we have a Flint shortage in this country. You thought primers were bad enough, but Flint's really bad. So my last order of Track of the Wolf, they on theirs were explicit, saying that they were limiting people in how many you could get. Anything over, they were just automatically deleting. Perfect. Appreciate that. They had different part numbers on there, and they were limiting. I'm all about fair share. But I ordered some sizes, and they had a 12-pack of 1/2 inch by 3/8. I think it was, small ones for that Virginia long rifle I've got. And so I ordered those, and then I ordered individual ones as well, and then I ordered another size. Well, they canceled. They said they were only going to send 12, and I was like, I don't mind if they cancel one of those 2. But they canceled my 5/8 by 5/8 square, which I needed for my other gun. Didn't tell me they were going to do that, and then they sent 2 of the same, which doesn't make sense. So right there, that tells me that they're just canceling whatever they feel like, I guess. And it's just a guess. Because logic would say, if you're going to cancel anything off of there, you cancel the ones that were the same. Instead, they sent me 24 of those 1/2 by 3/8, which is fantastic, because I'll have those for a long time. And then they canceled the 5/8 by 5/8. And then likewise, when I did the Log Cabin shop, I ordered from them, I forget what it was, I ordered Flints. That was actually one of the things, and I needed a 1 or 2 other little things, so I put them on, and their shipping's expensive. They only have one option at $13.95 for this tiny little thing. So instead of confirming for me what they did, they just shipped out, which stinks because it's not like them. And I got my tracking number, says, hey, we're sending you a package. So I was excited. I opened it up, and half my stuff was just not there, and they'd cancel it. But this was before I knew anything about the Flints, and I ordered them right at the same day, I believe, as Track the Wolf. So I didn't equate that 1-in-1 was limiting, because the other one just said, hey, do this. And I was like, perfect. So I opened it up, and all I got was one pack of the Flints. So $25 worth of Flints, shipped for $17, I think it was. Kind of pissed me off, because you canceled that, or back ordered and then canceled the other one because they're alike. And then so I called them, not knowing there was a Flint shortage, because that's where we're going with this. And the Flint shortage comes up, and she says, well, there's a Flint shortage, so we're limiting everybody. I go, okay, but you could have at least told me, because I probably would have added more stuff to make it worthwhile, or just waited. And I said, all right, well, can I not get those right now? She goes, no, because you ordered this one and this one, and they're tiny. I got the 3/8 by 3/8, I think it was, the really small ones, because that's what that Virginia uses. And I ordered 1/2 inch by 5/8, and I got those. And I ordered 5/8 something else. She goes, well, you ordered too many sets. And I was like, but it didn't say that. And it was kind of irksome. It just said limit. So I did one of those, one of those, one of those, one of those. Again, not knowing there's a Flint shortage. So I asked her, I said, well, what's the deal? Why? Apparently, there's only 2 Flint nappers left, and England declared Flints a precious commodity, and so the exploitation of Flint, which is the English Flint, is limited. So the one napper who does it, I guess one of them is gone, and the other one is doing it now, and then there's somebody else doing it now. But I've gotten some humpback Flints, which you can grind down and all that, but I think they should be ready to go. So they came in, they were okay. So I asked her, I said, can I order more? She goes, well, no, you just ordered today, so we're not going to let you. And I said, well, when? She goes, I don't know. And I said, well, that doesn't help me. I said, like, I shoot a lot in a month, 2 months. And she goes, yeah, a month might be okay. And I said, might be or is. And I mean, I'm just asking because I want to get more, because these things are a wearable item. And so that was just kind of frustrating, because I spent $17.95 on shipping for 2 packs of Flints, which is absolutely highway robbery. So then I went back to Track of the Wolf, ordered a crap ton of stuff, and they had some Flints in there. I knew they were limiting, but they also had French Flints, the French Ambers, which I brought one over with me, but this one's still going strong, so we're going to keep going. So I got a bunch of French Ambers to replace some of the sizes, and I got a bunch of the other ones. And guess what? They all came, because I did 12, 12, 12, because I knew it, and then their shipping was like $6.95 or $8.95. It was much more reasonable, including all the extra oversized ramrods and things I bought, because I bought all those Delrin ramrods for all the Thompsons I bought recently. So it just seems kind of odd, and I love Log Cabin. Track of the Wolf's been good. It just seems Log Cabin, there's just something missing there now. So fast forward to Dixie, I bought this before I bought those Flints, and that's why I was ordering Flints. I said, I'm going to have this shipped to me, and because, again, in the video when I talked about it, it was like 25 or 28 bucks to ship this slow mail. It was 48 bucks or $51 to ship it overnight. So I shipped it overnight, had it the next day. I mean, reasonable cost for something that's oversized. And so I've done subsequent a couple other orders on them, and I got another something coming. Hopefully, we're supposed to be here today, and suppose there's a weather delay. Yeah, go figure. On an overnight package. So hopefully it'll be here tomorrow, and if that's here, then we'll make another video, and you'll enjoy that one, I hope. But the thing is that reasonable expectation of costs is okay. But Dixie's been fantastic. I call them up, they're knowledgeable, they give me an answer right away. Their product that's coming out is fantastic, and I just had recently a return that I had to do on something that was not up to snuff, and that'll be another video coming up. And my buddy and his Lamat had an issue after we were done. We discovered something, and that'll be on a follow-up video as well. Sent it back. They're replacing it, no charge, coming right on back to them. And then, yeah, so they're just fantastic to deal with. So, I mean, between them all, we're blessed that we have them for our needs. I just think that sometimes realistic expectations of shipping and costs need to be evaluated by companies based on stuff. And we can drop a couple packs of Flints in the same exact package you had, go to the post office, and for $9.95, you can priority 2-day to 3-day ship it to me from where they are, instead of it took me over a week and a day, business days, to get those Flints at $17.95 from UPS, and that was it just sucked. But anyway, enough of that crap. Just be aware there is a Flint shortage now, so stock up, stockpile caps, stockpile Flints, and start hoarding and start shooting though. Make sure you shoot. So we're gonna do number 5. And just to show that one person about the ball starter, no ball starter. That ramrod though is super tight. And so technically this is a 5/16, and I think what I'm going to do is go online and buy a different dowel in a 1/4 inch and put some ends on here because it's just too tight. And then the steel one's nice, but I don't want to be carrying a steel around, so I'll use this loaded that, you know, if it goes, because the Pedersoli are super light, and a lot of times the grain structure is not the greatest, so they tend to break. So that brings us to shot 5. I'll flip you around and we'll show you the group. I'm aiming dead center, and they're clumping pretty close, stacked right on top of each other. So that felt wade's making a difference. One of the only reasons to take a knee in this country right here, so I can fit in frame. But there you go. That's an amazing piece. It's super fast. I'm enjoying it, I'll tell you. It's easy to clean, especially with that range rod. And sadly, that range rod, the stainless one I'm using, that one came from Log Cabin, and that's actually what I was looking for, and they ended up not having the right one for me, I guess. But all said and done, I love it. And I think because this is probably, we're at 28 minutes right now, so I'm not going to go any further. So we'll stop there today. Let me get that data if it came through. Shot 5 did come through. So we're at 1433.4, minimum 1339, average 1433.6, and the peak was 1508.7. That's running a 122 cal Thompson actual mini, and I told you I'd show you that, so here we go. Let me just make sure we're all tucked in safe. Put all my danglies back in. So let's see if we can get you to focus. Hopefully that's focused. That's that Thompson. It's got some nice lube in the groove. Felt wads. Now you're gonna have to bear with me on here. I gotta flip this around so I can see. Okay. See that group right there clustered in the bottom? That's all 5 shots. I'm gonna loosen this up, stabilize the tripod. Here we go. Right there. So that is painted all on there, but my paint ran out, so they are covered. But that group right there, right in the center, that's all 5 shots clustered. That's 35 yards, so super nice. Let me get you back here. See where we're looking.